Hello and welcome to another edition of Mentoring Matters here at the PAC 14 studios. My name is Mark Thompson and I am the coordinator for the Wycomico Mentoring Project here at the Wycomico County Public Schools. But today I am so excited. Today I have a special guest in the studio that we want to talk about not only mentoring, but I'm just so proud of this young man. And we're going to talk about the story and how we met because mentoring does make a difference. So today, let me introduce to you Mr. Ronnell Jacobs. Ronnell, welcome to PAC 14
Thank
and
you,
Mentoring
sir.
Matters.
Thank you, sir.
Now, let's see. Let's go back not too many years, but I guess it's been, when did we first meet each other?
When I was at Bennett High.
Uh-huh.
It's been.
Now, when did you graduate?
I graduated year 2015.
Wow.
We met when you introduced me to the Gentlemen's Club.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you from your son and everything, and just seeing you in the communities.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually officially met more so in that Gentlemen's Club that was in high school.
Yeah, I remember that. We had something that was called Men of Distinction.
Men of Distinction, yes, sir.
And we had a group of men, young men that used to work or went to Bennett, and every week we'd meet, and me and Mr. Holbrook. Remember Mr. Holbrook?
Yes, sir, Mr. Holbrook.
Yeah, we would meet, and I can't remember. Now, how did you volunteer for that, or did the teacher recommend you?
I believe it was recommended as well as volunteers a little bit both. I wanted
voluntold.
it. Yes, volunteer, right, yes.
Yeah, those were the days, and
Yes.
I remember we had a nice group, and we used to meet with meet a few
Absolutely.
gentlemen. But it's so funny how time has changed. You graduate from Bennett, and what happened after you graduate? Where did you go from there?
I graduated from Bennett, and then I started working in a field with youth with mental disabilities in the state of Delaware. And then I started moving on. I continued to work with youth, and then I started working for the state of Delaware and working with juvenile and delinquent homes.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, here I am today. I work for Wycomico Public Schools, the Board of Education. I love it here.
Wow, so now you're at Y Middle.
Yes, sir.
Wycomico Middle School, and it's so funny, and I get so proud when I see these young men, how you've gone from high school, and now you're turning right back, doing what we used to do it in high school.
Absolutely.
So tell me about the program you have going on at Y Middle.
So I started, when I first started Y Middle, Mr. Giddens, I think he had just transitioned to his next part of life.
Yeah, Coach G. Uh-huh.
Coach G, yes. And they was like, hey, Mr. Jacobs, we would like a boys group. Mr. Giddens was doing it, but he's doing something else at this time of his life. And at first I was like, I don't think so. I was just pushing it back. And I was a little bit nervous. I was like, hey, this is my first year, and let me just get comfortable at Y Middle again as a staff, not a student.
Okay.
But then they asked me every year, and then this year, during the pandemic, it really got laid on my heart to really help these Y Middle boys because I needed somebody to help when I was going through school. Mm-hmm. So who else could be a better person than somebody who's been through some of the things that I see the young men at Y Middle going through?
Wow. And no, it's incredible. And again, we're here. This is Mentoring Matters, and we're here with Ronnell Jacobs, which was part of our Men of Distinction at Bennett High School over 7 years ago, where we worked with a group of young men that were voluntold to come meet with us.
Yes.
But here's what's so ironic. During that time, and I remember you used to come in there, and you were different, meaning that you didn't dress like all the other students. Yes. What made you do that in high school?
Well, growing up, I grew up in the church, so I was already a little bit more comfortable being in dress clothes.
Okay.
So, and I knew a lot of my friends knew I grew up in church, so they had the nickname pastor and
that's right.
Those little church names for me. So once you get put in a position, you got to hold that position. So why not dress up and lead that way?
Well, let me ask you about that. And when you talk about being dressed up, looking at young people these days, I mean, they come to school anyway. What do you think about how we're dressed now in school?
I believe, because I did go to private school a little bit, I went to Salisbury Christian.
Okay.
And we had a dress code. We had uniforms, and I believe that was great because it took away bullying and other matters that public schools have to sometimes face due to their dress code of the young men and young women. But just seeing the students today coming in, maybe not wearing a belt, or maybe wearing too tight of clothes, or maybe just maybe some inappropriate things. I feel as if maybe we should get back to dressing up and teaching the youth, like, hey, it's okay to dress up. Because one day you're going to need an interview. I want you to get comfortable wearing dress clothes, because you may need to wear dress clothes, and I want you to feel comfortable. You should already have that experience of wearing dress clothes. So I believe we should start imparting that back in the schools, like, hey, maybe we should have a dress day.
Yeah.
So that would be good.
Well, I know it's funny you say that, and man, we have such we have parallel tracks here.
Yes, sir.
I was brought up in a private school, and we wore a tie every day, so I felt really comfortable. But I do see our young people not dressing. Do you think that being dressed in appropriate attire, and even wearing a shirt and tie, because we played that song by Justin Timberlake, Shirt and Tie,
Yes.
Suit and Tie.
Yes.
Do you think it makes a difference?
Yes, absolutely difference. As soon as you put a shirt and tie on, you feel like the man. You feel like, you're unstoppable. You can do anything, and that's the feeling that that you have when you put your suit on. You feel a man of distinction. You feel like a man of power, and that's the important thing and the good thing about when you wear your dress clothes.
Yeah. So tell me about the group you have now at Y Middle.
I have a group of, I think it's about 20 boys. Sometimes even the boys that they'll come down that's not so-called apart, and they just hear about it. They were like, hey, Mr. Jacobs, can we come in? And I'm like, hey, come on, whatever, come on, let's get it. And the boys that I have, they're great. They're great boys, and they're learning, and they're willing to learn. They want to learn. They want to learn how to be a gentleman. They want to learn how to make it in society. They want to be able to avoid certain things. I learned that I've been through and others been through, and they're learning from our mistakes. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it is. And I was fortunate enough to come one morning to see them, and I was amazed by the number of students that were down there. So we're talking again with Mentoring Matters, and I want you to know mentoring does make a difference.
Absolutely.
And there's so many different types of mentoring, and what you're doing, you're mentoring these young men.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me some of the activities that you're doing now.
Sometimes, first off, we got to give them something to eat. So in the morning, I make sure they have donuts. I make sure they get Dunkin' Donuts every Thursday morning that we meet. Just so, because we never know the situation or that they're coming from. So I want to make sure that they're full, their bellies is good, so they can understand some of the activities afterwards. So we'll meet, we'll go in a circle, we'll greet each other, we shake our hand, shake each other's hand, look each other in the eye, make eye contact. So basically preparing our young men for society. We'll go out, we'll have some activities outside, we'll play football in the mornings if it's not too cold.
Yeah.
But and then we also we talk and we encourage each other. I encourage the other young men to hold the other young men accountable in the school. If you see your brother slacking, hey, we don't act like that. We don't walk like that. We don't talk like that. We are here, and we need to stay here and hold ourselves accountable.
That's amazing. You mentioned something about you provide some breakfast food or something for them in the morning.
Yes.
Who provides that?
Oh, I pay for that.
You
Yes,
pay
sir.
for it. So if you're listening to this and you want to help Mr. Jacobs,
Yes.
we can get you in. Contact me at the Board of Ed. My email will be on the screen. And if you want to make a donation or if you want to even
Absolutely.
come by, I'm sure
Absolutely.
that he would love to have
I
that.
would love that, absolutely.
But so you meet with him in the morning.
Yes.
Do you have any other activities? I know you talked about going to football. Anything else that you see that you really want them to learn?
I really want them to learn about college and trade and things of that nature. I want them to learn about how to carry themselves for careers and get comfortable with speaking to other adults in a respectful manner.
That is important.
That's very important. And I also want them to learn about how to keep your emotions under control, even when we disagree with some things. That's some things that we focus on, the discipline within ourselves. I really focus on our self-discipline.
And we don't have to call no names on. We've seen how people have overreacted in public, even celebrities.
Yes.
And it's very important for our young people to understand how to control their emotions. And you do it very well, and now you'll be able to share that with them.
Yes.
Can you tell me an example of a young man that really sticks out in your mind of how he's progressed so far this year?
Absolutely. Well, we have a young man that started, we call him President Loose.
Okay.
Because just as if I was the president for the Men of Distinction, I said, hey, somebody needs to be the president of this group. Somebody needs to lead, and it can't be me. I need somebody that's your age to lead this group. And they voted President Loose. And I said, this is a great person to nominate as your president, because I remember when he started at 6th grade, and now he's an 8th grader now, and you can see the change, the maturity that Carlos has done. And like I said, I'm proud of him. Actually, he's being broadcasted on Y Comico Middle School's website right now as the Student of the Month. So those are the things that I look for in my mentees. And like I said, Carlos Wood, he's a great person, and he's grown up to be a fine young man, and I'm very, very proud of him.
Carlos, well, we need to make sure I got to bring him in
Yes,
for
absolutely.
this and interview him.
Absolutely.
So doing your, and what's the name of your group? What do you call it?
We call it Boys to Gentlemen.
Boys to Gentlemen.
Boys to Gentlemen, and that's because I want them to understand the best way that somebody can understand who they are is if they call themselves who they want them to be. So I want them to get get used to saying that I'm a gentleman, I'm a respectful young man, I'm a man of distinction. I'm going to be somebody when I grow up. I'm going to lead the way. I'm going to lead this next generation. I'm going to break that generational curse. And that's what I focus on. That's what I want the young men that I speak to feel afterwards. I want them to feel empowered. Like they can change this world, and they can. One of them can change this whole world. And I believe it can be one of my guys.
Wow. And I remember when you were at Bennett, and you interviewed the rest of the guys that were there, and just how you've progressed. One thing I didn't know about you, you have martial arts?
Yes, wow. I do. Yes,
so how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing martial arts. I started, it was a birthday gift. My birthday is February 25th, 1997.
Okay.
And, I am a little bit young, and it was a birthday gift from my grandfather at age 4. When I was 4, he dropped me off because it was small town Shelbyville, Delaware. And I started martial arts, and all the way up to April 30th, I turned 11, and I got my black belt, received my black belt, and I stayed in it through the middle school, high school, and now God blessed me to be able to own the same dojo that I started as a student.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's so amazing about that, I had no idea, even while we're at Bennett, because I think part of what you say with martial arts teaches you responsibility.
Yes. And
you don't broadcast it. You don't try to show off.
No, it's not something that we broadcast. It's a we call it a silent warrior. A silent warrior in the garden.
Wow.
A peaceful garden. That's how we carry ourselves. When the war comes, we're supposed to know how to carry ourselves for the war, but we don't start the war.
Wow.
We're peacemakers.
And that's what's so important, because we hear it all the time in our schools, our young people getting into fights.
Yes.
The pandemic didn't help us.
No.
And now they're coming back, they have a lot of frustration. So what do you tell a young man that's full of, I'm just going to say rage, and they come in? How do you tell them to handle that?
Find somebody that you can trust. Find someone you can trust. Speak to that person. Release, because a lot of times that we hold our anger in. I mean, and sometimes it's not even anything to do with school. And most of the time that is something previous or something they have on their mind that's coming up that's frustrating them, and they don't know how to exactly communicate those frustrations properly. So I encourage to find somebody that you trust, that's a responsible adult, and explain to them whatever situation is going on so they can give you sound advice. That's why I really believe that.
I like that. So what do you tell? I get phone calls every day from parents saying, I have no idea what to do with my son. What kind of advice can you give to parents? And do you give advice to parents?
Yes.
And how do you handle a young man, especially during the middle school, the most formative years? What kind of advice do you give the parent?
An idle mind can do a lot of damage. So I believe in putting these boys in sports, put them in something that they can look forward to. It's hard for a student or a young man to look forward to something that they don't have. You know, so if they have a football coach or a football team that they like to go to, or a basketball team, or even martial arts or boxing, wrestling, whatever it is, lacrosse, swimming, find something that that student likes, that your child likes, and get them involved in it. Because if you don't have your child involved in anything, a child will make their own decisions and find their own creative ways. And sometimes it's not the best, ways to go. But I believe every student should find something and support them, parents. Support your child. Go to the practices. Make sure that your child is the first and the last to leave those practices. Stay in communication with the teachers, your administrator. Be there for your child.
Well, you said something, and you're a young man. So, and I'm thinking back to when you were in high school. Did they have video games and all that? That was.
It's not like now.
So, what about a parent said, "Well, I gave them the video game, this Fortnite, and there." What do you think about that?
Me personally, I'm not a big fan of the video games on. Now, that's a incentive, yes, but that should not be. They need something more than just video games. They need something that can stimulate their minds, get them away from the TV, away from their cell phones, away, because when I was growing up, my grandmother locked the screen door and had me outside.
And we don't see kids outside playing anymore.
No. Give them a basketball, buy a basketball court, a trampoline. They need to get their social skills back up to par since the pandemic. I believe that we need to engage them back in the community. Boys and Girls Clubs. I know there's a Boys and Girls Club that is starting here in Salisbury, and I'm excited to hear that. And there's little things that's happening right here in Salisbury that you can take your child to and let them be involved in that. Take them to a church. Let them grow up in church. Let them grow up around other successful young men, because eventually the fire is going to catch on.
Yeah. Wow, you're saying a lot, and again, this is Mentoring Matters. We're here at the Pac 14 studios with Ronnell Jacobs. He's works at the Wycomico Middle School with young men's boys to gentlemen.
Boys to gentlemen. Yes, sir.
Now, a lot of the people look at young people as they're just troublemakers. They don't offer anything.
Yes.
What would you tell us older people about how should we look at? And how do we encourage a young person?
Let them make their mistake. Let the child make the mistake, but make sure that you guide them. Make sure that you're there, because we all needed somebody. So be that person. Be that mentor. If you see them going down the wrong road, stop them like, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should do that. Maybe try it this way. But don't let them stride away. Just be there as their mentor.
Okay. So let's say, and I know we're almost out of time now, but I just want to talk about something that you really want to bring to Y Middle. So you want the young men to come in there with shirts and ties.
Yes.
And
yes.
How often do you want them to do that?
As often as they're comfortable, but minimum one day. Minimum one day. But if I can help cultivate. Because, I see the whole school being dressed up.
Wow.
I see the whole school, but like I said earlier, it takes one person. So I really want them to start getting in the way of dressing up, and hopefully it'll pass right on, and then we can make this a whole wide middle thing where everybody in the whole school is dressing up dressing for success, looking like how we expect them, and what their parents and what the teachers and administration is investing in these students. A lot we invest in the students and the children, and we expect something great to happen. We're planting seeds, and we're expecting a beautiful rose to grow. We're planting sunflower seeds, and we're expecting that. Hopefully one day that dream will come true, where the whole school, the whole children, all the students are dressing up and they're looking successful.
Oh, I can see that. And I'm going to put a challenge out to our viewing audience. So here's what we need. You want to be a mentor. You want to help in the school system. Again, I encourage you to be a mentor, to spend 45 minutes at least once a week to come into our schools,
Yes.
working with our young people. But here's my challenge to our viewing audiences. If you want to help sponsor a child to get a shirt and tie, contact me again at the Board of Ed. I'll have my email on the screen. Contact me and I'll get you paired up with Mr. Jacobs.
Yes.
And with a child, and maybe you can sponsor a shirt and a tie that they can wear, and you can come in and present it to them.
Yes.
So that's the challenge I'm giving
Yes.
to everyone.
Yes.
So what's, again, in our closing minutes here, what do you hope to happen this year, the rest of the year, in your Boys to Gentlemen group?
I want to see them continue to grow. I want to get them back involved in the community. I want them to give it back. I want them to learn now that it's not about the money. It's not about the cars. It's not about the big houses. It's about you giving back. And that's why I'm here now, because it's time to give back. And if I can install it in them now, that they got to give back to the community, what they grew up in, where they grew up, their neighborhoods, by the time they're an adult, it'll be a breeze for them to give back.
Yeah, and that's what's so important, because now you're dealing with 6th to 8th grade.
Yes.
That adolescence
Yes.
group, and now they're going to be going to high school, and you want to let them know about different careers.
Yes.
In fact, we want to go down to UMES.
Yes.
To see University of Maryland Eastern Shore. And I was telling you, but we're going to do this is visit the aeronautics department they have down there,
Yes.
to expose
Great.
children to things.
Yes.
So tell me, real quickly, you've had some great guests come into
Yes.
your program. Who are some of the people that have come in and talked to young boys?
I had Mr. Shane Leatherberry.
Shane was
Yes.
here. Okay.
Yes, Shane Leatherberry. He came in and spoke with our boys. He was playing for the Cardinals.
That's the team. Okay.
Yes, he was playing for the Cardinals, and now he's living a successful life, and he's another prodigy of somebody who's giving back to the community. You know, he didn't say, "Hey, I'm going to charge you." No, he said, "I'm willing to do it," and those are the type of people that we need in the community.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned, so with Shane, and I saw that picture on your website, when everybody wants to be a D1 guard or play football, he actually did it. Was he able to share what you have to go through?
Yes, he did share. He was explaining how it wasn't just him. He was in competition with somebody way across, not even in America. He was in competition with somebody from another country. So when you think that you shouldn't be training or working hard for whatever your dream is, that's when you need to train. Training starts at home. It doesn't start when you feel like it. It always starts. You always need to be in your train, always in your grind. Work for what you have your vision to be.
Yeah, I like that. Always be in your grind.
Always be in your grind.
And that means working hard in school.
Yes.
With the grades.
Yes.
Again, so you're at Y Middle.
Yes, sir.
And you meet every
Thursday.
Every Thursday. If somebody wants to come in to be a guest,
yes,
what should they do?
Please email me. My email is rjacobs@dcboe.org.
Okay.
And then we can set up a certain time for them to come in and get everything situated under the board policies, and we can get them in to speak and help out with mentoring our boys at Y Middle.
Wow, and we'll have all this information for you. But the first step, I really encourage you to sign up to be a mentor in our school system. It's very easy if you go onto our website, and we'll have this information for you. We have online applications that you'll fill out. You can select the school that you want to mentor in, and Y Middle would be a excellent, excellent school.
Yes.
And then I will get your paperwork over to Mr. Jacobs, and he'll call you and get you signed up. But mentoring really makes a difference.
It does.
Again, I am so proud
Yes, sir.
of you. I remember when I first met you over at James and Bennett, and you just had this air about you of wanting to be better and being someone, and you have definitely done that.
To God be the glory. Yes,
I love to see that. Continue to do that. And again, mentoring makes a difference. I keep saying it. Come on into our schools to be a mentor. Today I'm wearing my tie, and I do this kind of tie because when I go into schools, people say, well, I don't know how do I talk to a young person. So I wear some different odd ties, and that it's a conversation starter.
Yes.
So again, mentoring makes a difference. Sign up with the Wycomico Mentoring Project, mentoring in the school, at least 45 minutes a week. That's all we ask.
Absolutely.
But in closing, anything you'd like to add before we?
No, sir. I really appreciate it. And like Mr. Thompson said, come out, be a mentor to someone. Find a student inside the school, outside the school, show them the way. Let them know that the mistakes that you made, and make sure that they don't make those same mistakes. Try to help push them to be a better person than what they already are.
All right. Well, I could not say any better. Again, thank you for reviewing Mentoring Matters here at Pac 14 Studio. Please watch all the Pac 14 shows.
Yes.
This is a great place to get community news and information, and continue to watch Mentoring Matters. We'll have a special guest coming up soon. Again, this is Mark Thompson, coordinator for Mentoring Matters, saying mentoring makes a difference.
Amen.